With Russia becoming a highly dangerous threat once again, the Scandinavian nations have been forced to take a look into their military blind spots. As Sweden considers joining NATO, its military has scaled up its training on the remarkable Stridsvagn 122, recruiting new conscripted troops to handle the enviable armored vehicles. Born from the legendary German Leopard 2, the Swedish tank stemmed from the legacy of World War II and the knowledge gained in the Cold War. But when it entered service in the 1990s, the world had found a renewed peace, however brief. In 2005, the Swedish military withdrew its forces from a crucial perch in the Baltic center, the island of Gotland. Sweden has been waiting a long time to return to the windswept island. But as unit commander Karl Engelbrektson put it, quote, "Disbanding large parts of the armed forces in the peace euphoria of that time may have made sense to a lot of people. History proves that this was a mistake." Origins. Following the Cold War, the Swedish government needed a main battle tank to replace its obsolete vehicles. As such, they undertook a program to upgrade their armed forces, including replacing the aging World War II-era STRV-102-102 and STRV-103. In the STRV-NY initiative, 3 foreign tank types were selected to participate in trials to become the basis for the new development. They were the American M1A2 Abrams, the German Leopard 2A5, or Improved S, and a prototype of the French Leclerc, then in development. The military conducted strenuous trials, but the Leopard 2 eventually emerged as the winner. The model fulfilled the Swedish military's battlefield requirements and capabilities more thoroughly than any other, and the Leclerc fell short, partly because it was not yet mature enough for service. In 1994, the Swedish government acquired 120 new production tanks and 160 older Leopard 2A4s that would double as a stopgap before the more recent versions were ready. The entire deal cost the Swedish government $770 million. The Leopard 2A4 was thereafter designated Stridsvagn, or STRV-121, while the new tank, the Leopard 2A5, would become the STRV-122. Like father, like son. After entering frontline service in 1979, the Leopard 2 branched into a plethora of remarkable variants and specialized battlefield vehicles, all stemming from the same chassis. The Leopard 2A5 was a notable addition to the family production line. It was the first variant to showcase the revised, well-sloped frontal turret facings that housed so-called spaced armor, intended to counter hollow-charge projectiles. In addition, the overall weight of the vehicle was lightened by using a new fully powered turret with electrical control. In 1998, the German Army was the first to receive the revised variant, and later opened its procurement to other nations. The Swedish STRV-122 retained much of the appearance and capabilities of the German original, such as the twin-turbo MTU MB873 KA501 12-cylinder liquid-cooled diesel engine with 1,500 horsepower. Plus, the Swedish version had a 120mm smoothbore L55 main gun, torsion bar suspension system, low-profile design, and 7 double-tired road wheels. In fact, the vehicle received its name from its 12-centimeter gun. The STRV-122, also known as Leopard 2S, is often described as a Leopard 2A5, but it is notably the most heavily armored of the kind, closely resembling the Leopard 2A6 EX tank when it comes to protection. Curiously, it is also the only Leopard 2 variant fitted with the French Gallic smoke grenade launcher system. The system comprises 2 banks of 8 dispensers added to each side of the turret. Developed by Nexter, it was fitted on all STRV-122s to be able to fire many grenades, to either mask against IR detection or launch decoys or anti-personnel grenades against infantry. Adapting to change. The STRV-122 kept many features from its predecessor, like its width of 3.75 meters, although its weight was slightly increased by 350 kilograms. Notably, the new variant was designed to endure Swedish conditions, from urban terrain to heavily forested areas. The STRV-122 also had a wading capability that allowed it to pass through water up to 1.4 meters deep. The Swedish version was also required to overcome the original German tank's shortcomings. Therefore, it was equipped with an advanced CBRN defense system that offered protection against chemical, biological, and radioactive weapons. With the assistance of a laser rangefinder, thermographic camera, and speed distance accuracy calculator, it had the ability to quickly discover, identify, and lock on to a given target. Moreover, it could lock onto numerous targets at once, engaging many enemy vehicles without needing to stop and manually re-aim after every shot. On the other hand, the tanks were fitted with active communication that improved cooperation between units. Other major differences included an upgraded fire control system that enabled enhanced accuracy while firing on the move, and an increased 3-ton frontal armor that provided better point ballistics defense. With it, the turret roof armor was also better protected. The vehicle was also fitted with Swedish radio equipment, a Raman-shifted NDYAG laser rangefinder, and a modular tank command and control system, or TCCS. Its complement consisted of a crew of 4, namely a driver, tank commander, gunner, and loader. Into the future. The first batch of 29 tanks was built in Germany by Krauss Maffei Wegmann, and the remaining 91 were manufactured locally by Bofors Defence and Alvis Hägglunds. They were first delivered to the Swedish Army in 1996, and several variants have emerged since then, like the STRV-122B or 122B+. For one, the STRV-122B sported a modular armor that allowed a smoother deployment in Afghanistan and Iraq. The new threats from the Taliban forces and insurgents included a large-scale exposure to improvised explosive devices and the infamous Soviet-era rocket-propelled grenades, or RPGs. Later, the STRV-122B+ evolution, with increased protection levels and advanced composite materials, was proposed. As of 2013, there were 42 original tanks still in active service, while most of the leased Leopard 2s were gradually returned to Germany. The tanks still in operation were divided into 3 companies, 2 at P4 Skövde and 1 at I-19 Boden. A few years later, the government established another company at the P-18 Regiment on the island of Gotland, though the trained units didn't arrive until 2019. A new set of upgrades is expected to be delivered by 2023 at the latest, including a new observation and gun site for the commander, communication systems for international missions, and a modular 360-degree ballistic projection system. The new vehicle will receive the designation STRV-122C if implemented on a 122A, or STRV-122D if the upgrade is applied to a 122B. The unthinkable. Late in 2021, the Swedish began implementing their own training activities, just as the Russians increased their military buildup on the Ukrainian border. The Swedish armored maneuver battalions hadn't trained on the STRV-122 in years. Besides, the Swedish Army got a $27 million deal for Israeli M339 tank projectiles, representing a huge step up for the platform. In truth, Gotland provides the Swedish military with an advantageous position in the Baltic, as they can control critical naval routes and airspace from the island. While the bastion seemed irrelevant a few years ago, Sweden is re-evaluating their military strategy after the crisis in the continent. In March of 2022, Sweden and neighboring Finland were conducting exercises off Gotland when 4 Russian fighter jets intruded Swedish airspace for a brief moment. Even so, it was considered a severe incident. In the words of reporters Nicholas Rolander and Ott Umalas, quote, "A wealthy Nordic nation that had become accustomed to being far away from war zones, Sweden, along with governments across the region, is preparing for the possibility, unthinkable until recently, of a conflict with Russia. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Dark Tech. And don't forget to check out the rest of our Dark Documentaries channels and stay tuned for the latest military updates around the world.